Once upon a time, there was a young girl, fresh off a corporate layoff, sitting in a Panera Bread, searching for her next step in life. I wish I could say it was a quick and easy transition from that exact day in Panera Bread to now, but a lot has changed since the first day I applied to be an online teacher. Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Really quick, if you're new here, be sure to click that little red subscription button and the bell down below to be updated for each and every future video. I wanted to end the year with a video talking about the different changes I have seen over the last 3 years of online teaching. So much has changed from then until now in both my personal journey as an online teacher and the platforms that I have taught with. If you've also been teaching for a while, let me know your stories down below in the comments. I feel like everybody has a different story depending on when they joined an online platform, how it's gone for them, have they branched out. So let me know yours down below in the comments. I'll try to get back to as many of your guys' comments as possible. But without any further ado, let's jump to the then. A quick backstory, I really was part of a corporate layoff. We had all come back after the December Christmas holiday break of 2017. It was the first week back in the office in January 2018, and my entire department was called into the conference room. We saw the HR rep, and our entire department was indeed laid off. But if I'm being really honest, that entire previous year leading up to the layoff was very, very toxic for me. Corporate America and I did not sit well. To be fully transparent, all I really cared about in that environment were things like job titles, salaries, benefits, moving from cubicles to finally having my own office, having the word executive in my title. These are literally what I cared about. And on the outside, if you looked at my Instagram at that time, I had another YouTube channel at that time. I'll link that one up above as I am restarting it. But all I cared about was image, how it looked. Was I bringing in, the big money? Was I having that private office like I said before? If you looked at my Instagram or any of my social medias, you thought, that girl's doing great. She paid off her car in cash. She bought her first house. Everything's going really well for her. But outside of social media and the little highlight reel you all saw,
I was miserable.
Now fast forward to that eventful morning, sitting in the Panera Bread as an unemployed millennial, I jumped on my good friend Google and I searched work from home opportunities. And the first thing I saw will be no surprise. A lot of get rich quick schemes, a bunch of MLMs, a bunch of take my classes and you'll be making 6 figures by next week. But then finally, the Google search results showed me something that didn't look like it was too good to be true. It wasn't gonna get me rich by tomorrow, but it was an opportunity to begin working from home. And it was a YouTube video. I actually know the exact video. It came from teacher Erin. It was her VIPKid teacher morning routine. Work from home. And I was very intrigued. I had heard about the world of online teaching from some of my friends that I had done theater with. I was working in a union house and a lot of my friends were quitting their restaurant jobs and they were telling me, Kristen, I'm not bartending or waitressing anymore. I'm teaching online. But I never looked into it. I didn't know the company name. And finally I saw teacher Erin's video. I watched that video and then another video. And then I finally caught one that really sold me on it. She had documented her application process and her first week as a teacher. And after watching those 2 videos, I found that she had uploaded one sharing how she had become fully booked. And she showed a screenshot of her schedule. And I thought to myself, I'm in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I could work from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. If you're new to VIPKid, just so you know, we used to not have to stop teaching in that last hour. So during different parts of daylight savings, we could teach until 10 a.m. We'll get into that later. But needless to say, I watched all of these videos. I got so excited. I was taking notes, sitting in that Panera Bread, just filling up this notebook with different things. And then I left to drive home, fill out my application, and prepare for my mock interview lesson and my future profile video. Now keep in mind, this was very early 2018, well before the VIPKid Teach English Online world exploded. I was able to, let me pull up my notes here. I was able to get through the application process in 3 days. My background check took 4. So by the end of my first month of unemployment, I was still receiving severance pay, which is one of the very few benefits of getting laid off in corporate America. By the time I had reached the end of my first month, I was at least starting, the process of getting the ball rolling with working online. But if I'm being honest, I taught a total of 3 classes in my first month. So January 2018, a total of 3 classes. And if you're somebody who's just joining and wondering, why am I not getting booked? This is 3 years ago. Just fill the whole thing out, 3 classes. I think I mentioned that in previous videos, but yes. That is how it was. But as time went on, I got my bearings. I was able to figure out what ages I wanted to teach. I got my schedule. I was able to open up slots well in advance so parents could book me over, multiple weeks. And I was slowly but surely able to get a more fully booked schedule. Now, a quick note about payment. This was well before there was a tier system. Back in my day of VIPKid, if you taught over 45 classes each month, you could assume you were getting your base pay plus a participation dollar and a bonus for teaching over 45 classes. So essentially for me, I was able to teach at $8.50 base pay, and I could always depend on those $2 extra. Then if I taught short notice, that $10.50 I could depend on became $12.50 per half hour. I will say that months 4 and 5, and then starting my second contract, which is after 6 months in, I was able to do a majority of my classes short notice, earning me somewhere between $22 and $25 an hour, which was wonderful. It also seemed like back in the day, VIPKid was offering us a lot more incentives, like teach during these holidays and get an additional $2. So if you taught that short notice, you even got an additional $2 on top of that $2 short notice bonus. Anybody here who's been with VIPKid for a while, let me know what incentives you remember getting down below in the comments, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Did I really just wink? All in all, VIPKid was my really big find of 2018. It aided me in finding a job I could work from home. I was able to set my own schedule. It was my first taste of being an independent contractor, working for myself. I learned the hard way. You've got to set aside money for taxes. No one's gonna wake you up. You've got to get that alarm clock set. You are responsible for your own happiness, your own well-being. It was a lot of go learn it on your own. And I will admit, there were some times in there that I got really frustrated and would say things like,
well, I was never taught this in school. How do they expect me to know that?
One of those you live, you learns. But 8 months later, I was able to add VIPKid to my resume of educational experience, and I was fortunate enough to get a job as a full-time brick and mortar teacher back in August of 2018. Moving on. This was my go year. I already had 1 year under my belt. I jumped into contracts 3 and 4 in 2019. I had already established an Instagram and a YouTube channel fully dedicated to VIPKid content. I ate, slept, breathed it. I did everything with it. I was showing teachers left and right, those that I worked with that were working extra shifts at places like Target and Starbucks and the grocery store. I was showing them different options they had to bring in extra money for their family. So I did get into a little bit of referring, but this was the year I jumped more into the VIPKid community. I found a lot of my online teacher friends starting a YouTube channel, learning about the lighting and all that different fun stuff. I do have everything I use with my YouTube channel and my VIPKid classroom listed down below, finally in an entire Amazon store. So it's all organized. Let me know your thoughts on it. It's down below in the description box. This was also the year I had a set base of regular students, and I attempted my first little phase of pulling all-nighters. That, I will admit, came in the summer of 2019 because there was no way I was gonna do all-nighters while being a full-time brick and mortar teacher, but there was a short stint in there where I wanted to just see, could I do it? And I learned really quick, that is not for me. I did upload a video. I'll put it up above in the cards. It shared my VIPKid morning routine, and it was in the summer of 2019. And I look back on it and I just look at how excited I was that I could still make money from home, be done at 10 a.m. I was able to go to the pool that's right outside, take walks, just be in nature, not be tied to a 9-to-5 cubicle in corporate America. If that is, by the way, something you do and you enjoy doing, all the more power to you. I don't mean to slander corporate America. It comes with a lot of benefits, a lot of financial security, and insurance. So it is not all bad. I'm just stating in this video that it is not for me. Anyway, like I mentioned before, I was able to start referring some of my fellow teachers onto the platform. I was able to go document Journey in DC. If you haven't watched that and you went to Journey, I'm gonna also put that one up above in the cards. Let me know if you see yourself. I was the girl walking around like with her vlog camera, looking all, I almost said cool, looking very excited to be there. I would film people like waiting in line to get swag, or going into the conference center, or breaking out into sessions. I tried to film as many teachers in that video as possible just to share a little bit of community. Final takeaways of 2019 was it was my go year, established social media accounts, went to Journey, and had a base set of regulars. Now, let's jump into 2020. First, surprise, surprise, we were hit with a global pandemic, starting for me around mid-March. So my full-time classroom job was put online through Google Classroom, which initially was kind of intriguing. I liked seeing how I could put my classes online, and it let me have more time to do VIPKid. Beginning of 2020, I was the girl who woke up at 4:45, taught between 5 and 7 a.m., went to school, and then every once in a while taught evening classes if I wasn't already in a musical. Now come March 2020, if you were around this channel, you know that I was in a musical. We got to do one of our 3 weekend runs of the musical She Loves Me, and then that got closed. That theater and set is still sitting vacant in quarantine. We are waiting to hear if we ever get to do it, but trust me, if we get to do it, you will definitely hear about it here and on my Instagram. So make sure you're following that so I can be super nerdy. I mean, I'm gonna be super nerdy anyway. Because I was spending so much time on Google Classroom, I started putting a lot more of my personal notes and goals on my personal Gmail and Google accounts. I do know that for the year of 2020, my online teaching goal for the whole year was $10,000, which was a pretty big deal for me. I was never able to do VIPKid full time, but I was able to start increasing my monthly salary because I wasn't having to drive and commute into a classroom every day. Now, I will admit my one big frustration with VIPKid was the restriction of hours. I would rather wake up at 7 or 8 and have the full day to teach rather than have to get up at 4:45 because of the time zone difference. I remember thinking back at Journey in the car commuting to DC with one of my friends. I always said to her, I wish they would just branch out to other countries so we would have options of teaching in different time zones, which would affect the hours that we could work. And then lo and behold, one of my teacher friends lets me know that she was teaching science courses on a website called Outschool. If I'm being very honest, I had actually heard from Outschool in the fall of 2019. They had asked me if I would do a couple music-based classes, but at that time I was online teaching, brick and mortar classroom teaching, and getting married. So I just put that email in a folder in my Gmail box and never saw it again. But at this point, I was already home in quarantine anyway. I only had a set amount of hours I had to dedicate to my classroom teaching, and VIPKid was ending at this point 9 a.m. Later in the spring, we had daylight savings and it jumped to 10, but at this point it was 9. So I had the time to research Outschool, and I noticed there were maybe in April of 2020, 5 or 6 videos from YouTubers talking about Outschool. There really weren't that many. So I took the initiative. As soon as school ended, I started documenting my journey, my application, my first week, my first month, what I learned, burnout, cancellation, payment. I feel like I had a honeymoon or intoxication phase. This sounds really bad, but I feel like I just had a moment where I was just so happy that I found a platform that gave me what I wanted and what VIPKid frankly couldn't give me at that time. Does this kind of sound like a breakup story to anybody else? If no one else heard that, my husband from upstairs just yelled that it's just me. Basically, Outschool and I had our own little honeymoon phase. I was just so excited to be able to set my own schedule, make my own classes, which is a story in and of itself. If you've been around here, you know that I used Skillshare and Canva to make all of my classes. I actually share the exact course I took on Skillshare, and you can actually take it for free. There's a link down below in my description. I think you get 2 or 3 free weeks of membership. The course only took me 4 or 5 days. It taught me everything I needed to know, and now I can make my classes very effectively, easy, and as time goes on, I'm getting faster and faster at putting my classes together. So highly recommend. I have links down below for both Skillshare and Canva, so check those out. But now that I've had my taste of teaching self-made classes on my self-made schedule, set at a self-made price, I've been exploring other places because I figured Outschool cannot be the only place that you can teach self-made classes. Now, this is a spoiler for a future video, but I have explored the options of teaching my own classes on places like KidPass, Udemy, Your Teachable Moment. There's a bunch of different places. Even Skillshare, I didn't mention that before, has opportunities for you to teach your own self-made classes. This will be a future video. I'm also going to make a guide that goes along with the video where I explain each of the platforms, how to apply, how they work in terms of getting enrollment, making your own classes, getting them approved, and of course, payment structure. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. That's going to be a big video I am so excited for. I'm kind of in the research phase of it now. If there's any particular platform you want to see and be included, let me know down below or DM me on Instagram because I'm gonna start filming that video very, very soon. But needless to say, I was so excited to find other opportunities because I figured Outschool couldn't be the only one, and it kind of seemed like between the pandemic and VIPKid teachers getting fed up with their changes that we'll get to, Outschool kind of exploded in 2020. But while we're on the topic of what made Outschool so popular this year, my personal opinion is my husband's the best. He brought me water. In my opinion, one of the biggest reasons a lot of VIPKid teachers have been seeking other options like Outschool, VIPKid, Magic Years, whatever it is because in the summer of 2020, they rolled out a brand new tier system. Now, you all know my opinion on this. This was not my favorite change that VIPKid made in the year 2020. I also made a follow-up video to that one sharing that I would lose about $500 a year because of those tier changes. Now there are some teachers who can teach full-time and they're making more. I am very happy for them, but for me, knowing I would lose money because of those changes kind of incentivized me to put more time, effort, and energy into Outschool and now my Teachable Moment and Kit Pass. Why am I teaching on more than one platform like Outschool? It's honestly because I don't know what 2021 will look like. I don't know if Outschool is going to become oversaturated like VIPKid did, but I figure it's worth trying. If I've made the course that intellectual property is mine, why not offer it on other platforms and just see where the cards fall? Again, make sure you're following this channel because I will do an entire video outlining all the options you can teach your self-made classes on. Some of the biggest takeaways I have between that fateful day in the Panera Bread to sitting in my living room now, almost 3 years later, are take it slow, do not compare to other people. I was like in my own happy, isolated bubble the first 6 months of VIPKid because I hadn't followed anybody on Instagram. I was excited when I had 5 classes a week. It wasn't until I got into the YouTube, the Instagram, trying to find community did I start playing the comparison game. Do not do that, especially if you're teaching on platforms where you have self-made classes. Your offerings as a teacher are yours and you should not compare them to another teacher. But there you guys have it. That is my online teaching experience then versus now. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps out this channel in terms of being found in search and with the YouTube algorithm. Have a happy and safe holiday season and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. This is my second coffee. I've had 0 water. This is bad. I'm not taking care of myself.
If only there were solutions buried somewhere in that problem.
Like my husband bringing me water?
That sounds great.
Okay, maybe marriage isn't going so well.